7th of October. So make sure you submit your articles till tomorrow. And one more thing, if you are like writing an article anywhere else other than like Google Docs, so make sure you put your link in Google Doc and put that Google Doc link in our type form. So that would be a nice way to submit. Okay, so let's start with today's event, and we have with us Kartikey. So first of all, Karthik, would you like to introduce yourself, like apart from my introduction?
Yep, I guess Dheeraj covered all things, but apart from that, yeah, like I founded one of the, I guess maybe first independent community of our country, that is OpenCo community. And talking about me, I guess I'm more into community rather than that. But in terms of if I'm saying I'm a professional, and I've been as a developer advocate at Postman, and also been like in Turing as a developer intern, and much more into tech space for a long time in an open source for again through Google Summer of Code at as I contributed in TensorFlow.js project. So yeah, that can be my some professional experience maybe that can be added to that. So yeah, thanks Dheeraj.
Just like that's the introduction from Karthike. And apart from Karthike, like we already have some few speakers in our first week. Like we have Insa with us in our opening ceremony. We have Muthu on fourth. We have Uncle Big Bay yesterday. So like we are near to end in our first week, and in the second week we are focusing more on our technical content, and there will be some content expert who are there contributing to open source from a long time. So that is how we will continue our event. And so let's start with Karthike. After his introduction, the first question of mine would be like, yes, you told OpenCo, you started OpenCo, and it's a community that you started from scratch. So could you tell us a bit about the OpenCo community and what is the main motive behind starting it?
Yeah, sure. One of the founding member is here with us. That is Dheeraj only. So when I started this community, we didn't think of we are building out like a community kind of thing. We are just thinking like let's create a group, like a kind of a college group where we can just talk about technical stuff, maybe related some bugs, issues, kind of stuff. And when after COVID hits and we got the sense like maybe we want to expand it. So when I started off, like in my batch also, even me also, I didn't know the concept of community actually. So I got the concept of community through Aditya Oberoi, Kunal Kushwaha. And they basically mentor me around the community thing. Actually, what is community, and what is actually the significance of community. After that, I think of when we started this community, we did initial some basic introduction regarding Git and GitHub, open source stuff, web development stuff, kind of thing. And I guess our community came into around maybe when there's a major league local hack day learn is happening. And we did I guess we are ranked in almost top in like in every, I guess, build, share and learn. So that's our, you can say, our basically the build up of our community when it started off. Then we thinking of let we can maybe advocate that thing in a more wider way. So I've been a part of also Code for Code that is also run by Kunal back then, and we got basically the mentorship how we can to create stuff in open source as an open source community. So I thinking of let's create this community in a more open source community sense. And those who are part, those who know our community pretty much well, they know previously our name is developer student community, it is devs2com. And we just changes in form of the community that we get it, that everyone can come collaborate. So that is open, inclusive and collaborative community that we came coin terms. And through that like we got an exposure. And like in general, when we say developer relations or like when we say community management thing, many people are think of like they are not doing in a right way, but we think of in giving the technical session in a more wider way. That's what I think of. And that's what we came into through this community. So yeah, that's my, we will take over that around that. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Like that's a great journey, starting a community and like growing it in a way like others not doing. It is a very difficult task. So you did a great job with your other founders and all. So like my next question, you're into communities. You're part of so many communities. You are still part of some of them. So like let's start with Postman. Like Postman is one of the known API testing platforms. So like how can one use Postman as a developer advocate intern, and what are some opportunities that Postman offers for beginners?
Yeah, so for me, always Postman is always a great community to connect with if you have been into API and if you want to learn API, because many people, or even in students also, they have a kind of a scared kind of thing like we can't, API is really hard, we can't understand anything regarding API. But like when I'm talking about Postman program or specifically student programs, it make it very easy to understand like how an API works in a very more fun way, in a general way. And the support, maybe even though if before getting into Postman also as an intern, but before that also, the opportunity that I got from Postman community is unreal. Initially there's like the structuring of the program in Postman student community is like student expert. It's a kind of a API certification. Basically you have to do some hands-on stuff, and again that's the power of that particular training module. Like many programs just do some theoretical stuff and they're not more focusing on the practical side, but Postman actually helps you to give like a hands-on thing. You can learn a lot. If you have any issues, you can directly maybe drop some public issues maybe on the Postman student community channel. So again, moderators are there, Postmanauts are there to help you out. Then after that, because I am kind of first batch of student leader when the student leader program created. So student leader program are it's a program for those who want to basically evangelize, or you can say evangelize the API literacy in their campuses, that is majorly focused on the students. So there's a thing like initially it is a student program when we say in student expert program, but the student expert is not only focuses on the, you can say just for the students. Student expert can be open for all, but when it comes to student leader, they are more focusing on the students, basically those who are representing their campuses actually. And last but not the least, after I am being part of a Postman for a long time, they see I am really active in the community. So like they approaches me like, are you interested to become like a developer? Initially it's the role is like a developer intern, or you can say student community intern. After that they see me I am really been into advocacy for a very long time, so they're thinking let's switch the, maybe the change the role for me to convert in a developer advocate role, and working with the development team, with student program team to basically more evangelize the API literacy stuff. Like I also gave a talk at I guess I'm not remembering the community exactly. It's a Kenyan community which is more focused on the documentation. So I gave a talk on API documentation and how Postman can help us out in terms of how to write a documentation for APIs, or like how to structuring an API documentation. So yeah, that's my journey over there. But again, Postman is like that also. If you are being a part of community, or even you are a student leader, so you can get an access to give a talk at their big conference like Postman, like Galaxy Postman conference has also been there. So yeah, that's you can do. And even though when I part of a community as a student leader, I also got a chance to be a part of the main core team of API Fest that is happened last year, and I think so they are doing this year also. So yeah, again you got great opportunity as you get to connect with the community managers, you can say developer advocates at Postman. You get the have a connection with the, like I got a great experience as I can talk with the founder of Postman, that is Abhinav, and we have a great discussion on maybe metaverse kind of thing, like how maybe API can build it into a metaverse kind of thing. So yeah, again I've been into I am being into Postman. It's not like that I'm advocate for a long time, but yeah, for me I always the opportunity, resources, and the connects that I got from the Postman community is unreal. So I must say, if you are a student, if you are into first year or second year, or like if you're even into in your final year also, try it, like go to Discord server, do some activities over there, be a part of the program. You definitely get some benefits out of from that program for sure. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Karthike, for that answer. Like, starting from the Postman expert leader to this intern journey is a nice one. And so, like, I think our participants are gaining so much insights about communities, and also, like, if you have any questions, like, you can ask it in the Q&A section, and we will make sure to answer them in the at the last of the event. So now let's go to the next question. And for the next question, I have, like, you are there into communities also. So again, a question related to community, like how difficult is community management for you, and like what are the challenges you faced in your initial stages, or maybe you're facing now, and how you overcome it.
Yeah, so from my end, again, from my perspective, it's again depend to person, or like how you are, what is the main mission of your community. Like like here also know we have a same concept to basically more focus on the open source, and how then open source can help the students, or like not only just students, we are more focusing on the in general people also. But the main ideology that as a community man that you have to think of, just like how you are basically transiting that thing to basically to your community members. Generally what community managers does, they didn't even take feedback from community members. Maybe they're just doing events, and they're not actually taking feedbacks from them. They even didn't know what type of, or what kind of demographics of community members are there. So maybe many community managers lack that what I seen in many of the communities. And I prefer basically talk with your community members, have a discussion with them. Maybe it can be a random networking session also, and just you're talking about the community, or maybe around the mission, that around the goal that you're focusing on the community. It can be all possible. Like I'm just taking an example, like suppose you want to build a gaming development community, and you are doing a lot of session, but even there is a kind of a graph you saw, like there's a decrease in number of people. So why it is there? So like you have to talk with your community members. You have to talk with them, like what are you facing, why there's a decrease in the number of the attendees in your in the event, or you can do those the engagement activities you are doing. So for me, always like understanding community is always a topmost. And sometime in initial time also we didn't think of, we're just doing regular events, and we didn't think of the doing for the feedback thing. But we got a loop, like yeah, we have to do that thing. So I guess maybe many community managers do that. And yeah, that's what the my majority thing. Otherwise, again, the consistency, how you're maintaining the consistency, or have a quality discussion in your community, that's matter. So yeah, that's what my take on that thing. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, like, it is not an easy task for community management, and you have to overcome those challenges you face. So, like, let's move from a community to some content. And like, my first question is, how effective do you think content is when it comes to community management, or like any type of content? You already have a lot of followers in Twitter, like 6K plus followers. So like, creating, why content creation is necessary, and for you to showcase to others.
Yep. So content creation gives you some kind of edge. So is it not like that you have to go with the followers kind of thing again? You are creating content again for others, but like again you are doing this thing for you. Because sometimes what happened initially when you start creating content, there's a time when it kind came like a kind of stagnant kind of thing, where you're not creating content because like the followers will increase on that thing. But otherwise, I will just say creating content helps you also to basically build your domain language and domain knowledge in a more wider way. That's what I think. Creating podcast, talking with them, maybe it can be possible initially you have not knowledge about maybe any particular domain, but talking with those folks who are doing great in that space, have a get you got some kind of ideology. Same happened with me. I didn't know the sea of community also. So what I did, I started my own podcast on a random channel, just talking with the community people who are doing great in that thing. So getting talk with them, like 101, it can be in a virtual space again, get your concept like how actually community works. Because sometimes it can also possible you didn't know the core of that particular domain language, but talking with those folks who are already been into that space, you get an insight about like actually what it does. So for me, like community, it can be an open source also. I'm doing some open source podcast also in between. So I got in concept, okay, this is the open source, how I can get issues kind of thing. So again, content creation is really important. In case you are not into a code demo, or you can say cool knowledge, you can start talking with people, you can get into insight and try to build up that thing through your content. Can be in through your blogs, through your videos, audio podcast. There are many things that you can create. And I prefer, as a, if you are an initial, you can create blogs is a great way to basically express out what you are consuming as a content. So yeah, I always prefer, like, content creation is one of the core thing that you can do for sure. And it's a like great space for also, like, many people are doing right now. It can be on Twitter, they are creating thread just to maybe it can be in the web3 communities. It can be talking about, specifically talking about maybe mobile development, machine learning, AI. They're creating thread and they're just sharing their knowledge with others. And again you're creating content creation, so that also help us to build your whole personal brand also. Because again, right now everyone knows the value of personal brand, why you have to create it. So yeah, there's also plus point to that thing also, why you have to do content creation. Yeah.
Okay, so like that is why we are advocating like non-code contributions in terms of open source, and we are doing it for open source sustainability. Like non-code contributions are equally important for as well as for code contributions. So like let's move towards more open source and like do you want to tell us like you have done contributed to TensorFlow during your GSOC period. So like can you how you feel about your contributions and like uh, tell something about it.
Yeah, it always feels surreal because TensorFlow is one of the biggest org in open source world, and then you pretty much know, if you can contribute to TensorFlow, that's like again doing again another level thing. But yeah, for me always, communities again, there is always, even you think you can't able to contribute to any big repos, do not take worry. There is always moderators and admins are there to basically help you out. So when I go when because I create a small project using TensorFlow.js. So I think of, let's start doing maybe open source contribution, but all the issues that is assigned, or maybe issues available in that particular time, it's very hardcore, and I didn't know even single thing about it. So what I did, there's a mailing list in the TensorFlow.js repo. So I just mail it like, I am Kartikey, I created these kind of project. So if anyone can help me, or I really wanted to contribute to TensorFlow.js project. So it again, in open source, you have a patience kind of thing also, because it gave me, I guess, 2 to 3 weeks to reply back from the admin of the TensorFlow.js that is paying you. And he actually created a project tab for me, which is a kind of a feature request for all thing. Again, there's no issue, it's totally features, and he created that thing for me. And he also shared some PRs so that I can take reference to that and basically create the PRs on that terms. So that also helps me a lot to basically understand how I can contribute to that particular project. So again, I will say, try to be very connect with the community, have a talk with the maybe the moderators or the mentors, those who are part of that particular organization. They can really help you very much, because they already knew the workflow of that particular repository. So that can help you a lot. And again, it just not only TensorFlow, it can be in a random way also. You can still contribute not only in a technical end, you can also contribute in a no code, or you can still kind of a documentation side also. So yeah.
Yes, so you ended with the non-code and documentation side. So the next question related to it can be like how do you think like non-code contributions are important in open source ecosystem? Is it equal to the code contributions, or what do you think about it? Your views.
For me, every contribution matters. That's what community teaches us. So those who know me, or those who follow me in general, they pretty much know I did, you can say, 70 to 80% advocacy rather than doing code contribution. And that's what, like, those like Jason Mills, who is an basically WebML lead at Google, they pretty much know me through that, because I am one of the guy who basically cover whole APAC region with my TensorFlow.js talks. I am the only one you will see maybe specifically in India who are giving talk around TensorFlow.js. And again, advocacy is really important. Why I'm saying this? Because you think maybe you think you know this particular project, but there are many people who want to understand it, but they didn't even know this project ever existed. So advocacy really helps, or it's a core part of an open source contribution. And I like that, like this year Hacktoberfest basically included that thing in the main curriculum of that. So like many people thought that maybe documentation, this kind of thing are not a core contribution. Like, they are really important, because if you are a beginner in that particular project, if you're jumping to that project, and if there is not a proper advocacy or not a proper documentation of that particular project, then no one can understand it. When we say we have the React project is one of the best, Django project is one of the best project out there, because the documentation that they created is very simple, and you can easily understand what actually this project is. Maybe I can take a example of, there is one language called Rust language. They created the documentation in form of book, so that you can visualize in a form of book. That's also really helps a lot for those who are very new to the space and they want to get into this space basically. So I just say don't focus on, like, code contribution is good, yeah, it's great, but again, you can, many people, like, even though those who are the GitHub stars, they are started from the contribution from the documentation side, or no code side, or low code contribution side again. So again, it's not bad, but again, add value to that project, that's matter. Do not spam it. Do not spam, or do not create a spammy PRs. I just recently tweeted one thing. One quality PR is much greater than your 1,000 PRs. You can spam me PRs, or like normal 1,000 PR. Try to add value to that project. That makes sense to it, because if suppose when we say GitHub is a place where recruiter can reaches you through your skills, but again, if they can see your commits, they will know, even though you have a whole green bars in your profile, but again, if the commit is just to add just, you can say, just small changes, and you're not actually adding the value to that project, then again, then doesn't make a sense to many recruiters, also those who are hiring from open source thing. So yeah, that's my point over that. Yeah.
Okay, so non-code contributions are equally important, and don't make any spam PRs. So, like Hacktoberfest with Aviyel, we are also doing that articles and non-code contributions, helping people to do that. Also, make sure tomorrow is the last date, so go and submit your articles before you miss it. So, like the next question, let me ask the next question. Like you're into communities from like past 3 years or so, 3 4 years, so any you're into many programs also, like technical community programs, so would you like to suggest people about that programs, like community programs and the open source program people should take part, like Hacktoberfest with Aviyel and any other programs you can suggest?
Yeah, actually, if you say, there's a lot of program that you can a part of. Maybe if I'm going just for a communities point right now, so GitHub Campus Expert is one of the best program out there. You can learn a lot from that program. You can connect with awesome folks in the industry, and that they are doing a great work in the software engineering side also. And again, those who know GitHub Campus Expert, they pretty much know about the unconference, like GitHub Field Day that happened in India recently, and it's one of the best unconference that you can ever attend it as a student. So I will prefer firstly the GitHub Campus Expert. Second one, I can say Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, because again, they helps you just not only in terms of maybe in a non-technical end also, but they also give you great resources, how you can start as a, like, if you are into cloud computing, they giving you $100 credit on, like, every month basically, and you can basically utilize that thing to understand the cloud computing services, or you can use it over your thing. And that's again a great thing, that a platform, if any, this program can giving you. um, these are the two programs that I will say go for it. Even though recently Twilio Championship is also open, Twilio Champ, so you can also do that. They are much into API thing. So they are into that thing. And talking about API, I must say go with the Postman thing also. Postman student programs is one of the best program, you can say. If you want to learn, if you want to interact with the community, you want to gain something from community, Postman is one of the best community, you can say. And if I'm talking about the open source thing, if you want to get into open source, there's a lot of programs out there. First one is Google Summer of Code, and it's open for all. It's not like just for students, it's for open for all. If you've been into tech documentation, GSOR, that is Google Season of Docs, is also there, so you can be a part of it. And if you are the maybe a normal tip I can give you over that, showcase your old blogs or recent blogs that you write for maybe any technical project or anything like that. Linux Foundation, Linux LFX is also one of the program where they are more focused on the basically on the, you can say, cloud native side and maybe WebAssembly side kind of projects. So you can be also part of, and that's one of the best program that I got from many peeps from the open source world. And yeah, these are the 2 to 3 programs that I must say. There are a lot of more program in open source. Again, Hacktoberfest is one of them, to just to get kick started with your open source journey. But if you might want to get into in depth of the organization, so these are the 3 programs that I stated is one of the best program out there in the industry. So you can check that out. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Karthik, for listing that programs out. Also, like, can someone from my team put the links of Hacktoberfest with Aviyel and like our Discord in the chat, so that if you are new and want to participate and start with writing blogs, so you can start with us. In the second week, we are going towards more documentation thing, and in the third week we have projects, a lot of projects. We have Caploy, we have Novo tooljet, so you can write for them. So that's how we proceed. So the next question is, how open source helped you in your career?
Yeah, open source helps me a lot. Implement what I implemented in GSOC is basically shared in my international conference. That helps me a lot. So again, open source just not only give you an exposure to basically to work with the open source tools, they also have give them access to have a great network in the open source world that you are doing right now. And yeah, again, giving talks, they are coming to develop advocacy, but you get a chance to basically go to abroad, talk, have share your experience over that thing, and talk with amazing folks around the world. Those who are like, one of the thing is I also got an opportunity, even though I didn't go on that time, but also got an scholarship from KubeCon. Those who into cloud native space or into open source world, they pretty much know about this thing. You can apply for I guess for the next year, I guess in the North America or maybe Europe. So you can apply for that thing, and it's a great opportunity if you are a student and if you want to experience that conference. It's one of the biggest conference in the world. You can go there and just to understand how the cloud native space works and how you can do that thing. So yeah, open source gives you a lot of things. You can right now many folks in the open source world, they're doing everything from remote work, and you can do anything from anywhere like that. And remote helps us, which basically again open source gives you so much wings to that thing. So yeah, that's the maybe open source helps me a lot in multiple ways, you can say. It can be also maybe becoming a developer advocate, a shy person who can't even speak single word, but now speaking so many words to you. So that kind of stuff I can say. Yeah.
This open source will definitely help you in a journey, whether you are doing code contributions and doing non-code contributions. So, we are coming to the end of this session and event. Like, people do not have any type of questions. Like, they already know a lot about you, and they have attended events of you as well as like us. So, uh, at the end, like, if you are here, let us get some tips. So what tips would you like to give to the newbies who are just entering into open source, or like into content creation? They are just starting to uh, they are open source in this Hacktoberfest. So
Sure. So I must say, the first and foremost thing is the consistency. Try to maintain consistency in your content. It can be possible, like you think, like why anyone should read my blogs or maybe listen my podcast. Just just basically go with that. Just go with that flow. Try to create content. Just think like you're creating content just for you, not for others. So because in many times when you are beginner, why anyone can listen to my podcast, or why should I create a video for that particular thing even though all the videos have existed. So again, it not only helps you regarding other aspects of it, like maybe public speaking kind of thing, it also help you again, that I am saying again and again, that core domain language. If you're talking about any technical thing, you get an ideology how to pitch it in a form, so that any, if anyone like, so sometimes it's also happened, yeah, you're giving a talk at something maybe first time. So again, if you're not able to give that thing, maybe the fear of basically how to pitch anything will again, it differs from person to person. But sometimes it also helps you to how to pitch anything, maybe if you're pitching anything regarding technical stuff, technical talk, non-technical talk also, if you're giving on a normal talk, or maybe public speaking also, that also helps you and grow in that thing. So again, have create try to create content in a consistent form, maybe in a very less content, in a less content initially, it can be your quality will be very very low, it's okay, no issue with that. Consistency is really important to that. Try to create the content over that thing, and develop the skills over there over that period of time. And yeah, the major thing, and again, open source is the way where you can not create only content, but you can basically work for the developer tools around that. And it's like that you are advocating that thing which you created, and that also helps you a more motivation kind of thing, like this is the product that I created and now I'm advocating that thing. It's like you are like a founder of your own startup kind of thing. So yeah, you're doing marketing also, but you're creating that thing in a technical perspective also, so that's also help you a lot in skills, and also, so that's really helps that. Yeah.
Yes, thanks, Kartike. Like we have a question from one of our participant, Ananya Nagar. Like she asked, "How did you engage people to join and participate in your community? I usually find it hard to establish my own community in college."
Okay, so that's a really great question, I can say. It takes time again. Keep doing events in your college. People initially didn't believe you, like maybe yeah, even no one believes in me when I started off. If you think maybe your batchmates are not helping you, try to take juniors first, versus like as I take Dheeraj on that thing, right? Uh, Try to build a team who believes in you and who believes what you are doing actually, because many people are didn't able to understand what you are doing. So, and generally in initial, it's not like a cup of tea actually, also creating maybe again, it need consistency, how you're consistent with your events that you're doing in person or virtual, so that people thinks, yeah, this community is pretty much active in creating events and basically vocalizing that thing. So try to do that. And again, try to make your own personal brand, because what I thought, like I did a lot of work with the community stuff, but when I did Google Summer of Code, the whole scenario changes. So again, your personal branding is really matters sometimes, even though we I didn't believe that. But that's a basically turning point, you can say, in the why people again believing me, because I did something big from their and from their perspective again. So I just say, try to focus on that thing, and keep building on thing. Try to build your team also. It's not like you are building you only. Try to build your team also. And that's again, they give you back on that thing, because sometimes in your final year, maybe you're not giving time properly to the community, so on that time your team will be there to help you out. And yeah, that's what my take on that thing. Try to make it more consistent. Initially, I'm that guy who gave a talk against one person also. So again, from my perspective, again, it's like your self belief will be in underground, you can say. But you have to be consistent with that thing, and will after some time people will know the value what you are doing. And it takes time again. Give some time, it will happen, but you have to make it very consistent. Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks, Karthik. I hope Ananya, like your question is answered by Kartike, and this thing inspiring it to get insights from your journey. So we'll wait for 2 minutes more, so that if you have any questions, you can ask in the Q&A section. So we'll end this event. So Any last words from you, Kartikey, to the participants of Hacktoberfest with Aviyel and everyone who has joined today?
I just say don't spam, please. It's an open source festival. Try to celebrate like we're doing right now in like in the Shera Navratri and like so in India. So like try to experience like a festival. You are here to add value to the project, just not to get for the swag kind of thing. Try to focus. Try to add value to the project. It can be through blogs, it can be through creating content, it can be through doing some low code or no code PR, no code contributions also, and it can also possibly you are doing through code contribution also, that can also help a lot. Again, adding value to the project, again increasing your skill on that domain. When we say adding value to the project, what it actually means, like suppose you are doing some spamming PR, so you're not learning from that PR, actually you're just doing spamming thing or maybe doing that thing repeatedly. When we say quality PR on VSA, if you were try to add value to that project, it means you are also upskilling yourself also to basically, suppose if I've created one PR and I have to take it like around 1 month to create that one PR again. Like it creates 1 month to take one PR, but I also learned so many skills through that. Maybe it can be I am very new to programming, suppose, and I didn't know about JavaScript. So I just take the whole month to create one JavaScript file, and it what it does, it helps me to basically to understand what is how JavaScript, how to write JavaScript or how to write scripts basically. So again, we when we are saying quality PRs, the more focusing on try to upskill yourself. It can be through code contribution, it can be how to write a blog, maybe you're writing your blog first time maybe, so that can also helps you to how to write a blog also. That's why we are saying low code no code. If you're been into the, if you are in a new to developer advocacy or advocacy kind of thing, so again that also helps you to basically upskilling in developer advocacy kind of thing also, how to advocate a project. And to understand, to advocate a project or anything, if you want to contribute to anything, you have to firstly understand that project. So I just say, first of all, use that project in your maybe in your mini projects, or try to use it, or just set up in your set up in your local system. And after that, all things will be happen like in a very fast forward manner, you can say. It just like you have to understand the project actually. So yeah, that's my takeaway on that thing. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Karthik. I am also like sending the link of our event in the chat. So if you want to know more about it, you can get it from there. And last 2 points, like tomorrow is the last day for our first week. It's already night, like 10:30, and so make sure to submit your articles. And if you are writing anywhere else apart from Google Doc, you can put the link on Google Doc and then paste that link on our type from submission. So I think Karthik, like you have to wait. There is another question from Ikra Fredos. Like he is asking, even friends are not interested to know about open source. Then how to build a team? I am new to contribution. Whatever I am knowing, I am sharing with them. But the community is not present in our surrounded area as well.
Okay, so my answer to that, yeah, it can also possible maybe uh, your friend, again as I'm saying, even in my batchmates, no one believes in me. One to two, apart from 1 to 2 people, those who are founder of my own community, co-founder of my community, try to approach juniors. Like Dheeraj is one of my junior in my college, so I approaches him and he's really interested to work for community. Suppose maybe in your college, like no one interested at all. So what you can do, you can build your team virtually also. Maybe you can start doing by maybe participating in any hackathon. Try to build that team from there also, that can also possible. So again, selecting right people is really hard, and I know that fact, because it's not like that I created my team in a single moment only. It takes me around 3 years to build my team. In my first year also, I did a hackathon, and none of them like I like it actually, because they are not sincere about what they are doing. They're just going for the hackathon just for a fun. Yeah, it's good for that, but they are not just going for a right mindset. That's what I think of. So again, building a team needs patience. And I just say, there's someone will be there in your college, maybe not your friends, but maybe your juniors or maybe your seniors also, that can also possible. If your seniors are really good with you, maybe, so yeah, you can build a team from that also. So try to just have a patience and try to connect as much as people. It can also possible. There are many, like when I started up the community, and actually there is no one friend around me when I'm saying in my college terms, but I got great friends from community. Hacktoberfest, Siddharth Delwar, Kunal Kushwaha. They are one of my friends, and from their point of view again, they helps me a lot in many things, not only for community. It can be from open source thing and all things. So yeah, I must say on that thing. Yeah.
Yes, Ikra, Firdaus, like it answers your question, and like we nearly came to an end. So, like, if you want, if you want to ask any other question, we have Discord, and like there's a channel for Hacktoberfest with Aviyel if you want to ask related to our event, and any queries will be answered by our team and the organizers. So I think there are not any other questions, and like it's already more than half an hour, like 45 minutes, nearly closing in, and it's night in IST. It's like 10:45 here. So okay, so let's wait for a minute, or we will end this event. Mm, yes, thank you, Purva. Thank you for everyone for joining this event. Like it is a great event, like Kartikey's journey in open source as well as in communities inspires a lot of people. Like one who are starting from a place where like there is no one around and no one helping supporting them. Yes, thank you everyone for joining in, and join our other events too. We have some amazing other speakers in the lineup, and keep contributing to open source. Keep contributing, doing non-code code contributions, write blogs, and get into events. Okay, so bye bye, bye everyone.